Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning. Next is approval of today's agenda.
With a motion to approve the agenda.
I will second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is approval of minutes of 4/15/2026.
Motion to approve the April 15, 2026 minutes.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now is approval of claims for payment of 4/22/26.
Make a motion to approve the April 22nd, 2026 claims for the payment.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we have consideration to approve designating the Signal Review in Hubbard as our official publication of the county. Eldora Herald is no longer, so these guys have asked, applied, and they seem to meet the criteria.
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve designating the Signal Review in Hubbard as an official publication of the county.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? By law, we're required to have 3 of them, and we still have 3 now. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now is consideration to approve the agreement for compromise assessment of Hardin County Tax Sales Certificate 22000005.
I will make a motion to approve the agreement for compromise and assignment of Hardin County Tax Sales Certificate 220005. This is a property known as 402 Washington Street in Eldora.
I will second. Is there any discussion? We did have a question on the timing of the mayor that signed, but we now have a current one with the current mayor. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Renee,
Aye.
Lance,
Aye. Motion carries. Now is consideration to approve the Allstate Life Insurance 2026-27 offered policy.
Okay, so we have one that's a whole life, which is what we currently have, that we currently provide, or option B is a term to age 100. I think, personally, I think we should stay with what we're currently providing, which would be the whole life. Or wait. Term, excuse me, whole life is, would be a lot more expensive, so. I think we usually do the term insurance.
I have department heads here. Is there any preference?
to me, the term life seems the thing to do. I mean, it's not like, it's a huge policy and it's not gonna gain a lot of value as a whole life policy in my mind. I haven't done the numbers or seen, the premiums or anything, but this makes sense to have a term policy.
Okay.
I mean,
It doesn't matter to me. It's what you folks want, so.
well, I think we should look at the cost and, I mean, we're in a
Term is normally cheaper than whole life, so that's.
yeah, I haven't seen any
So
numbers, so
whole-
I can't really make a.
Mhm.
whole
valid
life
decision.
is a lot more.
Yeah.
It's, I think it was, I'm gonna say. $50 more, something like that. It was close to that. Me and Chandra looked at it. It was quite a bit.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see the value of going to it, but.
I'll entertain a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion to offer the term insurance to the age of 100.
All right, I will second. It's been moved and seconded. In discussion.
That's just by the employees employed, right?
Correct.
it doesn't continue after you're gone.
I think they
No,
can.
you can.
You
can.
can pay your premiums, continue.
Excuse me.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
65.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none? Roll call.
Renee?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is consideration to approve the 26-27 rates and agreements with IGCHP, Walmart, EBS, and authorized board chair to complete the DocuSign forms.
I will make a motion to approve 26-27 rates and agreements with IGHCP, Wellmark and EBS, and authorize the board chair to complete and DocuSign the forms online.
I will second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is consideration to approve community betterment grant match application for V and company design.
I will make a motion to approve the V and Company Design Community Betterment Match Grant application.
I will second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Deb, you want to talk on it?
A new business in Iowa Falls, the interior design business, and they've applied for the sign grant and so you can offer them the $500 grant, and so it's a nice addition to the Iowa Falls and Hardin County community, so.
Okay.
All right.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is consideration for the utility permit UT 2026-07 for Alliant Energy.
Make a motion to approve the utility permit 2026-07. It's an existing pole work from 33939 to 31578 County Highway S27
I will second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
for Alliant Energy.
Obviously, if they're in a drainage district, they need that one approved as well. Same with both these. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Then we have utility permit 2026-08 for Arion Network Services. So I'll make a motion to approve that.
I will second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
It's from the intersection of Mallard Avenue and Hardin Road, south in the east right away of Mallard Avenue.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now I have is change of status for the sheriff's department.
Change of status for Sean McKnight. This is a pay increase, $36.54 an hour. It's his anniversary date pay increase.
I will second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Due to his part of the contract. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now I have one for IRVM.
I have one for Jordan Steppy. This is a hiring at $21.50 an hour at its roadside mower. At effective 5/4 of 2026.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? This is part-time.
Yes, permanent part-time, yes.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now I have IFADC update.
Okay.
Mark, come on up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I've continued with our latest round of business retention and expansion visits. So far, I've visited about 36 businesses in Iowa Falls in the area. We've also been reaching out to prospects on the vacant Builder's First Source property and got a couple leads on that. Also working with a couple a couple of different businesses, bringing them University of Northern Iowa Business Services for succession planning. Looking at aging out of their business, so trying to find that next owner. We've also launched our targeted business marketing campaign We've divided it up into three segments. This segment we start with is for warehouse and logistics. And so we're specifically targeting those interests, those businesses in the surrounding states around Iowa. We've created a new landing page on our website. We've created some downloadable flyers for our industrial sites and labor shed information. And so thus far, we've had over 200 hits on our landing page and website. So we're reaching back out to our audience through Facebook, through LinkedIn, and also with direct email. We'll also then be moving forward to target plastic manufacturing and agricultural manufacturing in the future. We are moving forward with the purchase of 85 acres for a new industrial site in Iowa Falls. We've developed a new name for the site. It'll be called the Mid-Iowa Industrial Site, Iowa Falls. And we have it listed on our website on Location One Information Systems, and we're promoting that site through our targeted marketing campaign. I met with an entrepreneurial couple that has purchased a downtown building in Iowa Falls, and they want to open a business. So we discussed a number of business ideas, and I shared with them information about some opportunities. Worked with Alliant Energy to get utility information, site information, and a price on the Alliant industrial site on Commercial Street. This is a 13-acre site that Alliant had intended to build a new service center on. Those plans have been shelved, and Alliant is offering it as an industrial site. So we've developed new aerial maps and now have it listed on our website and Location One Information Systems. I did receive an inquiry from Iowa Economic Development Authority on a green ammonia project. They were looking for an 80-acre parcel on the Sunoco ammonia pipeline. We've identified 2% potential sites in Hardin County. They did notify us that they are pursuing a site southeast Iowa at this point. So Shane's Collision and Auto Body in Iowa Falls are moving forward with a plan to construct a new building, and they're looking at using the city revolving loan fund and the IFADC revolving loan fund. The Princess Project is moving forward. As anybody who's been to Iowa Falls in the last few weeks, they've seen the massive scaffolding and so forth going on the street side facade. They're also working on the west side, and they are finishing the upstairs, the second floor, which is 2 apartment buildings there with trim work at this point. So we look forward to that project being done and opening a couple of low to moderate income apartments on the second floor of that building. We're working with Iowa Valley Community College on providing a artificial intelligence workshop for our local businesses. We'll be sending a survey out to businesses first and then designing the program around that. I have been monitoring proposed legislation in the Iowa legislature that would have impact on rural Iowa and Hardin County. I have been emailing our legislators. I made a trip to Des Moines to meet with Senator Sweeney and Representative Meggers. And last Friday, we held a meeting with them with the IFADC board, Iowa Valley Community College School District, Ellsworth Community College, the City of Iowa Falls, and the Iowa Falls Alden School District. So some of the things that we discussed, the biodiesel production tax credit, which would raise the production tax credit from 4 cents to 5 cents per gallon and extend it for 3 years. This we support this. This is important to Cargill. The Iowa Economic Development Authority Omnibus Bill is in the House Ways and Means and in the Senate Ways and Means Committee right now. There's been no movement on the bill, but we have concerns with Division 6 of that bill, which effectively eliminates the 260E job training program. It also would eliminate the 260F job training program. These are important because we've had local companies use these training programs to upskill their workforce. One particular one I'd like to mention is they did leadership training and upskilling to plastics recycling. And that was very critical because upon the passing of Jim, there were people that, in that management team that had been trained in leadership now. They were able to fill in the gap and continue the business without seeing it be sold off or something else like that. And then the property tax bills, which I know you're keenly aware of. So House File 2745 and Senate File 2472, these bills enact extensive changes in property tax. The Senate passed its version 2 weeks ago on a 41-4 vote. There are a lot of issues within that. In the House, Representative Nordman, who's chair of Ways and Means, filed a strike after amendment last Thursday, which basically created an entirely new bill. And we've been sorting through that to figure out what it all means, but the amendment is kind of a step in the right direction to finding compromise between the two chambers. The new bill would retain the House's language, which places a cap, 2% annual cap on all levies, other than debt service, and it would still cap local government reserves at 35%. Would reduce the school foundation levy from 540 to 490. The House also held a subcommittee on the Senate's bill Monday. So it's obviously they're looking for some compromise here. Whether or not the House and the Senate can get together, find agreement, it remains to be seen. But I guess if you wonder if those calls and emails and visits to our legislators mean anything, the House amendment does contain all 5 of the professional developer of Iowa requests to curtail the changes to tax increment financing. So it doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet, but they still have to pass that amended bill and reconcile it with the Senate bill. It does retain most of TIF, which is important because, that's the only economic development tool that we have at the local level anymore. So that's what I've been working on. Any questions?
Oh, sounds like you're busy.
Yeah, try to keep it. It's been very busy with the legislator because things have been moving like a pinball machine between the chambers and the governor, and so it's been very interesting. Sometimes you don't want to know how the sausage is made, though.
Right.
But it's the end result, so it scares me the most.
Yeah,
Like what services do we have to cut,
yeah.
We have to look at.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Public comments. Julie, come on up.
Well, Daryl, is either other business or public comment, and you were here before so just go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
Daryl,
Thank you. Good morning,
Good morning.
folks. So this is the Minuteman Movement installment number 8. So there's a maxim in the design world. Form follows function. The purpose of what you're building will guide the design of what you're building. The same is true of government. What's the purpose of government? Well, our declaration says that government is created to secure our unalienable natural rights, deriving its just powers from the consent of the governed. These objectives point us to the proper form of government. England was a monarchy, a king, with a parliament consisting of a House of Lords and a House of Commons. By 1776, the question of whether or not the English form of government was capable of securing our freedom and security was pretty well settled. it could not. As Paine put it in Common Sense, the English government contains two tyrannical parts, the monarchy and the aristocracy. Tyrannical in that they're hereditary and they serve themselves. He said it is the Republican part, the liberty of choosing a House of Commons from their peers, which the people glory in. Paine wrote, England is no longer deserves to be called a republic because the crown effectively has, quote, swallowed up the power of the Republican part of government, the House of Commons. The bigger question facing the colonists was whether the cost of independence, treason, was too high a price to pay for American principles. Declaring independence was not something the colonists took lightly or even agreed upon at first. Despite over 10 years of complaining, meeting, discussing, writing, petitioning. In fact, even after Lexington and Concord and Bunker Hill, the majority of those attending the Second Continental Congress in the summer of 1775 sided with John Dickinson of Pennsylvania, who sought reconciliation with England. Our Declaration counsels patience and reconciliation over revolution. It says, prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind is more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. By the fall of 1775, the die was cast. When word came that the King of England officially declared the colonies to be in a state of rebellion and called for force to put it down. The road of reconciliation was closed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next, Julie.
Well, here we are again. There we have Dr. Jesus and the other two things. Those pictures don't belong here, you know it, and you leave them up there and you will wear the stench of that. Yeah, people are rebelling against that. And so I guess we shall see what happens, as his liquor cabinet, so-called, lots of issues with alcohol, in the cabinet that rules our country at this time. And yes, the president, has control of both houses and the Supreme Court. We don't know why and what people are afraid of, but I'll show no fear when standing up against that or calling you out. So you should think about the future because it will change, and you could be quite embarrassed. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
No.
All right, I can ask for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Then moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries for adjournment. Errol, are you doing a sign in for this right now?
No,
No, okay. I just saw him signing something. So with workshop, Errol, I'm gonna kind of have you guide us through this.
oh, thanks.
Hey, no problem. You stuck around. Taylor deserted.
Yep.
But, So the request was doing 75. Taking the full 75%. They had a theory on how to divide the money up. And I think they were shooting for the 15 years. Thomas, do you have any updates from last Wednesday?
Yes.
Awesome.
So yes, we met last week and, that is what we're looking at and the. The resolute, or what were we coming up with?
Request for the resolution.
Yeah, for the ballot was specifically because, you had talked about it at the last board meeting, was making sure that we had it separated out. So that there wasn't a decision of if supervisors change, the money changes, yada, yada, yada. And so having looked at all of the expenses and all of the budgets, that 75 cents was going to. It's not gonna solve all the problems because the expenses continue to just rise. Ambulances have gone to about $350,000 for ambulances. And even gloves and, I mean, I bought batteries when I started in Ackley. And those are at $700 a piece for two on life packs now. So even just to keep your equipment up is horrendously expensive. So what we looked at is making sure that it was 75 cents across the board. And then that it goes specifically, so if we collect in Clay Township, it goes back to the services servicing Clay Township, which is Ackley First Responders and Iowa Falls EMS. There's a percentage on that, 10%, I think, and well, there would be 10 and 8 to 10 and 90 because of no BLS service in there. If there's a BLS service in there, like at Hubbard, Radcliffe, and Union, then the BLS gets 20 or 30%, 30%.
70,
And,
20, 10.
yeah, so that's where, then that BLS service gets more money because it costs more to maintain the ambulance, and the insurance on transporting is always higher. And so that's how that percentage came out, and they did that through looking at all the budgets and what that looked like. And then, when we looked at the discussion about the length of time, it was even, so there was a discussion about putting a sunset on it when we were at the board meeting. But the problem is if you put less than the 15 years, then we're gonna be back at this same process again in 5 years, and the problem is not gonna get any better in 5 years. It's just gonna continue to be a problem. And so maintaining the services is most important, and being able to maintain that for at least 15 years or until something else changes. You know, in 15 years, things have changed in 15 years since I've been out of EMS. So that change could happen easily in the 15 years, but making sure that it's set for 15 years. And then we also discussed the issues that Michelle and Jolene brought up, and felt we understand their concern, but the other is working with them and looking at how does the computer, because it's not like any of us have to sit down and paper and pencil this. We have to get it into the computer program, so the computer program tells us what we're doing. And then making sure that there's a way for that to come out of, if it's coming out of each township, how that is set up in the computer so that it knows where that's coming from and where it's going back to. The other discussion was that there was some thought in here about, well, we should do a reimbursement type of thing. Well, is it easier to cut 10 checks twice a year? Or do you want to cut 100 checks over the whole year, because each department's going to try and send in reimbursement. If you just cut it twice a year, just like you do with cities.
No, we don't cut it twice a
No,
year.
we.
I cut it every month, and it's not checks. But every single month, I collect and I disperse.
Well, that's where we need to have the discussions. We need these guys to have discussions with us, and Brooke and Jamie were working on that. So that we understand that. I mean. That's the piece that we still have to have discussions about, so we're not trying to tell them this is the way it's gonna happen. We can go to them and say, how does this work? But we've gotta have time to do that.
So outside of the funding source, or I don't think there's a dispute on the 75 cents per thousand.
Oh, the other piece, when you say that, the other piece was the expenses. So 422D already spells out very specifically what those expenses can be. And so we felt trying to list those expenses out, because 422D changed in the last 2 years and they added HR, personnel expenses in there, wages, which wasn't in there. Well, how many more times in 15 years can they change 422? And if we haven't listed it in the ballot that way, and we haven't listed it in our process that way, then to change it, then we would have to go back and do it again. And if we just list it as 422D, that's the state language. There's no discrepancy in there. It says expenses of the service, your supplies, HR, mileage, and if you can work it out, then your capital expenses in there. So 422D is very clear in what those expenses can be, and we had a lot of discussion about it, and to us, it made more sense to just list it as we will abide by 422D.
Makes sense.
Get that.
So,
Go ahead.
well, the 422D, that's all you're asking is to abide by 422D, which could change the state, change this. From a voter standpoint, they're coming in to vote for this, they don't know where you're gonna put the money.
Well, that will be as we
But it can
as we
change.
mark it.
Yeah.
For the vote,
Yeah.
then that's a very specific discussion to have, not just, 422D. Nobody knows what that is.
But the language is just 422D.
Right,
It means anything at this point. You can market it one way and go a different way after it's passed. Or 3 years down the road, it could change.
Right, so they always have to follow 422D.
Yes,
yeah, you
which
follow
is
whatever.
very broad.
Right.
So if some people are out there trying to vote, say, hey, we don't want to go to labor, we want to go to capital projects, if that, to make sure that we have the equipment that shows up.
That'll be our,
That's your marketing, and if you market it that way and you go the opposite way, now they're upset they voted in favor of it.
well, our plan on marketing is to be as very open and discuss all of those broad options.
And then the other thing
We're not
you're
gonna
locking
hide
in,
anything. That,
the other thing you're locking in is the 70-20-10.
yes,
And maybe 5 years down the road, it should be 60-30-10 or something like that. We don't know, but you're locking it in with the referendum. Maybe that's just part of the same 422D, and that's an agreement that they could make without the lock-in as a referendum.
that's a discussion we should have.
Was
I'm not sure.
it ever determined what the total financial need was?
Yes, I don't have that number in front of me, but it's way more than the need is greater than the
And revenue.
The
revenue.
property tax
Yeah.
raised?
Yes, and we
Was
even
there-
discussed that because a lot of county or several counties had property tax and income tax in there. And we're like, we're not ever. We can never get to the whole. That's an unrealistic number, but if we can get this base in there, then that keeps us more to the ready. And we just have to keep continuing on.
Do
like
we
the
know what the
transport.
whole is? You said get to the whole, what? is-
Oh, yes, Well, we do have that.
All right, just, when you have it.
Not-
Can you provide it
I
to
have-
us so we have to know what the whole,
Or we.
Yes, we can.
I just had to step out.
What the whole need is, how far, because we've had discussions about what all the budgets show. And
is the
that we're
whole
only
just
gonna
a, is the whole just the sum of all the current budgets?
get, and how, what the deficits are.
So like Eldora specifically, we run anywhere between 300 and 400,000 deficit every year. So that's just Eldora. But yeah, we have the numbers though for the whole county, and we could get you those because we compared budgets and stuff, but Eldora.
So,
specifically-
have it somewhere.
So was there a reason why, the adding the income tax is not, was, I guess, rejected or not
that's
recommended?
Because we don't think the vote will go through if we add that to it. I think that's gonna
And
be
it's harder to come up with those numbers, cause Corey tried to talk to. The revenue department. For 6 months and could not get a response from them.
Surprise.
Well, right, I get that those numbers are gonna be harder to calculate than property tax. Revenue that you're expecting,
But there's no cap on it either.
but there's no cap on it, but if the referendum, if the voters would vote, tax me to the level you need. Then it would always, the level of tax would always get adjusted to. Bring in that whole. I'm just saying it's an option. And I want to make sure you guys at least had considered it so that if you're not recommending it, then. At least it's been considered and not being recommended, but it could be. If you're aiming for the whole, there's a way to get there.
No, we'll take that back to the discussion, but it,
Well, like you say, it's gonna run into resistance at the ballot box.
yeah,
Well, it's gonna run into resistance at the ballot box.
Regardless,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because of the whole issue with everybody supposedly up in arms with their property tax. It's just gonna, it's gonna be a hard.
It's gonna be a hard
It's
sell
gonna be a hard
anyways,
sell no matter
and so
what.
adding that income
but what
tax.
I'm trying to say is,
Yeah,
if you want an ambulance to show up.
right.
There's gotta something happen because first responders and everything right now, the cities are. Funding all of the EMS, except for in a couple of places where townships do provide to. But on the whole, it's the cities providing, and at any point, those cities, when they run to the end of their budgets, they can go. You know, it's costing us too much to go to the county,
Well,
so.
and if the new proposal goes through and they're capped at a 2%.
Right,
Is it the advisory council's position that property tax is, not only is it maybe easier and more definitive, but is it more fair than an income tax?
well,
Just wondering if it had been parlayed about.
I don't know that we had that discussion. It was. Because income taxes, I mean. Depending on. What people have in their deductions and what they, I mean, I know of,
That would
and
vary.
no offense to Lance. But I know of farmers that they get told, oh, you guys are gonna have to go buy a new pickup or a new tractor or whatever, because your income tax is gonna kill you. So go buy a new piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Well, that just knocks down what you think you're gonna get in.
I mean, if the service is serving people and not
It-
land, would it seem more consistent to tax people than the land? I just wondered if that was something that was,
We did,
Yeah.
we did talk
I
about
think
it.
the biggest
But-
thing was like, it's hard to get the information we need. And get everything together in the time frame
And when it, yeah,
that
when it,
we need to meet in order to get things on the ballot, I think is the thing. And then in most places, I don't think anyone went straight off income tax. I think it was either property tax in conjunction with income tax, or it was just straight property
yeah, because
tax.
property tax or the income tax wasn't enough, so they were with the property tax.
And I'm just thinking out loud because
Yeah, no,
this is
you're-
what the voters are gonna be
Right, it was.
wondering between now and.
Because when you talk to those that had, when the two that have both, it's because this, the income tax process wasn't gonna be enough.
How do they determine the income tax? Is it just like a percent that they, or how does?
I think it's a percent.
Yeah. I'd have to look at the code. but-
Yeah.
There is no limit on how much they can tax under the code,
Under
under four
the,
22D, no. So you could, if you had the palette for it, tax people to whatever you need.
because the property tax side, the cap is
Yes,
75 cents.
yes.
Yeah. But on the income tax side,
There's
there's
no,
nothing.
code doesn't set a limit.
that seems.
I'm just curious as how they could even figure,
Yeah, how does that work
What?
with income tax? No.
That was the other part of.
Is
how
that a
do we
percent?
come up with a number?
But you come up with your need, not the tax rate, the dollar you're aiming for, and then the state will.
would compute that.
So Pocahontas,
So this is what we're trying to raise, boom.
Pocahontas does both. And they haven't had any issues. So I don't know how they're coming up with the numbers, but
What county was that?
Pocahontas. I'm trying to find some other information here. I'm not listening to you, I'm just trying to find something.
The other, question that might come up is whether, the money that's raised from a township should go to the township, and then the township then would be able to distribute it for these same purposes, enter agreements with whoever, whatever service area they're in, whatever, but
Well, they already levy for fire and ambulance service.
Right.
No,
Yeah, this,
They already
they,
have a levy.
they levy for fire.
no, they can do both,
Do
They
both.
can do both,
but it all goes to fire. Yes,
Yeah.
or not in all cases, some do ambulance,
Yeah.
yeah.
Around here, it's just fire.
But if,
I think there's one township that
one or
gives,
two.
some money for EMS, but that was.
but if we put the you shall in
Mhm.
to the township, they shall distribute that much money to the ambulance.
I don't know that we can, because that's all.
No, that's what this referendum would be.
Oh, the referendum,
Yeah.
okay.
You shall
Right.
distribute that to ambulance. Meaning they give more with throughout their other budget, but they have to give that 75 cents per thousand for
Because
ambulance.
this would go on your taxes, wouldn't it? If they do the referendum, wouldn't that be on your property taxes?
And that.
The referendum would determine whether it's for property taxes or income tax. It has to be
Okay,
voted on
okay.
either way you
Right,
choose, right?
Right,
Okay,
I am not finding what I'm.
but that doesn't affect what the townships levy for fire and ambulance.
No, this would just be,
On top of that.
yeah, this would be on top of that.
Would it be easier, Michelle, from treasurer's standpoint to, when you receive money through property tax, distribute it to townships or distribute it to ambulance services?
Either way, we are gonna do this, or however it's gonna happen, we're gonna have to have custom programming. And who knows how much that's gonna cost us? I don't know.
That should be in the
But-
referendum also, that
That will happen. That we will have to have custom programming because we're not set up to. We're set up to collect tax for an authority. Collect the tax. The budget that they have set determines how much money goes into each individual budget line item. And unless we do it that same way, but that has to go to the authorities.
but isn't that what this referendum is going to do, is if we pass the referendum, then the ambulance is the authority to pull the tax? Just like a school district, just like township, you
But
just
the,
add.
the agency isn't.
But
A government, a
We're gonna
government
just limit it
agency.
just to one. If that was the case, then I collect all the money from all the entities, but you're telling me that I've gotta give it to what I collected for Clay Township, I'm giving to Clay Township, but I'm gonna give 10% to Clay Township, I'm gonna give 20% to this, and I'm giving that to that. That's three different distributions
Would it be,
from one collection.
would it be easier if you just gave it to Clay Township and they disperse it?
Well,
I don't know that you can because they're not levying it, right?
But this is what this.
So nobody's
referendum would
levying
do.
it but the county for any. of
I
it.
know,
Right.
I know,
yeah,
that's what I
I'm
mean.
just trying
So
to
how
wrap
can you
my
give
head
it to the
around
township?
how it could.
That's what the referendum.
We know
is.
where the money came from,
We,
right?
we know the valuation, it just goes, dumps right to the township then.
When it comes in, we know
Then
where
how do they
it
know how
came
to,
from.
they would have to know how to split it.
We know what
That's where I'm
township, what
saying the
property, and what
70, 20,
township
10 should be their
it came
choice.
from, right?
Through a
Which, if
collection,
that's what the
If you could do
negotiation,
it.
then I'm gonna have to
But I-
have a line item
but I
for
think
that
they've all
to
agreed
be
to that,
collected
and the
through.
negotiation is we'll.
And
Is
then
it
you
easier to
can
send it
have-
back? Is it easier to send back?
Services.
Well, is there three? I don't know.
Well,
Because
I
if that
mean,
township is a
it's-
10%, then they get. They were,
well, they're always gonna be 100%. Cause 10% goes, like for us, 10% comes to first responder. 80% goes, or 90% goes to. Oh,
so they're gonna get taxed 100%, but only receive 10%, possibly.
The,
No.
no, the taxpayer is gonna pay the full amount,
75 cents,
right?
and they're gonna get 7 cents back.
no, they're gonna get all of it. But
Who's all of it?
the
The
town,
township?
because whatever service, so for us, it's actually first response and. Iowa Falls ALS, so they're going to collect the other.
From,
From which township?
I'm not
Right.
understanding, I'm getting confused.
I know what you're saying, I just don't know how you're tracing it to how we're gonna take care of that. Let me, get into the woods here.
Good,
Into the woods, let's say Ackley Township, they burned through all 100%, or Clay Township has burned through all 100% of the money. I know Iowa Falls is still gonna show up. But what if Iowa Falls says, well, you're out of money?
But Iowa Falls is gonna get a portion of what,
Until the money runs out.
but no, that's all,
I don't think,
no,
If
It's
it's
not about-
dispersed out with.
no. It's
No.
not about,
It's a supplement, not
yeah,
a bank.
Okay,
yeah, it's not like,
so let's follow my theory here. My theory would be, we collect the taxes 100% of it, we dump it into Clay Township. They get their 100% of value of Clay Township. Clay Township now negotiates with Iowa Falls and Ackley itself, right? Is that the first responders and Iowa Falls? They can negotiate with them, they can negotiate 70 or 90-10, they can negotiate 80-50, it's a contract with Iowa Falls
oh, but that, yeah, that,
as trustees.
well, the problem is the government's trying to get rid of the trustees. The second is that this would make it so there's no negotiation. You're going to get ambulance coverage and you're gonna get first responder coverage because you're paying here and you're paying here. Everybody is putting it out there so that you know you have the base service ready to go.
So the contract is a referendum.
Maybe.
That's just what you just presented. You are saying for 90% Iowa Falls and 10% Ackley will have service for their money.
Yes,
That's a contract.
yes,
That would be the contract through the referendum.
yes,
And if Ackley closes, Iowa Falls would then have to pick it up or.
yes. They pick up the
Yeah.
100% then.
right now, Iowa Falls responds to Ackley all the time anyways, cause the first responder can't transport the patient. So their ALS has to come regardless, so.
So some of my concerns are gonna be are some of these 10%ers, the first responders and the BLSs. Trying to keep up with their equipment also, otherwise they're gonna
Right,
dissolve.
and 10% is gonna be 10%, I think if I remember the discussion, 10% and above what our. our current is, because right now, I mean, I don't have a budget.
Right,
I'm trying to. When I need something, I have to go over to City Hall, I have to. Say, we've got to have this. And they come up with it.
and that's what scares me about the 70-20-10. Because what if your needs are higher than the 10? And maybe
Well,
Iowa
then we'll
Falls,
just have to figure it out.
right,
I mean-
and then Iowa Falls needs would be less than the 90. You don't have that room for negotiation with this referendum. Where if you left it at the townships, the referendum could say, hey, they need an ambulance for first responders. They need this, we need to put the money here this year of the 15 years. You don't have any room for negotiation on that. Otherwise, with that contract, I would say, hey, let's just give it all to Iowa Falls, and Iowa Falls is responsible for filling your needs in Ackley. For your first responders. And let's give it all to Eldora, and your responsibilities are to fill the needs of the first responders also. We're locking ourselves into 15 years tied up with hard percents, which will change. And if I can see this, I know the voters are gonna see this, and that's gonna scare people from voting. They aren't gonna like it. That's where I like to propose the township, so that gives them the rules for room for negotiations. The money has to be spent, and obviously if, I'll pick on Clay since we're talking about it. If Clay says, oh, we can't give as much Iowa Falls, so we're not gonna cover you, Eldora then may come in and cover. Maybe they want the money instead, but it gives the taxpayers the ability to negotiate in their areas. This referendum will take all of that away. The way it's written. See what my fear is, and I don't think it'll pass. The best way I think I can get it to pass is by giving the taxing levy, and I know they're talking about townships going away, but that's a long process. I don't think they can get it done. Not very easily, they got too many laws involved with it. But by giving the dollar amount to each township, their levying ability to negotiate wherever they want to negotiate with how, that gives them that self-confidence that we know where our money's gonna go and we can dictate where it goes. Maybe we don't want Iowa Falls, we want Eldora. Maybe they say, no, we want Iowa Falls, we don't want it. They can utilize that. The breakdown of the money would be the contract between Iowa Falls and the township. And that could be different for every township. Everybody could have a different answer.
And I don't know if it'd ever happen, but years down the line, some of these, I don't want to say smaller fire departments, I mean, I think some of them already have problems finding people to serve. What if a fire department goes, you know, say Steamboat Rock can't find enough firefighters, so Eldora has to cover Steamboat Rock's out. At least the township's still getting the money, and they put it to whoever's covering whatever area. Rather than splitting
Oh,
the
we-
township by levy.
We can take that back to the group and have that discussion. We
I
would openly invite you guys to come to the discussion so that we're not doing. But,
You're right, well, they could have came here too.
yeah, no,
Mm.
So your proposal is the full dollar amount. I understand Daryl's suggestion because his suggestion would actually get you more than that dollar amount. Based off, and you can do a percentage of each. So you're locked in on something and then you have the revenue.
I don't want the paper to say I'm suggesting we tax people. Oh, wait, don't put that.
No.
If the code provides that option, did you consider it? And did you
Right.
reject it and why? That's all I was asking. I'm not recommending.
And I don't think there's anybody out there in the rural areas that don't want to support the ambulances because this thing has been lopsided for decades. And to me, it's been lopsided because the state screwed up, I don't know how many years ago when they didn't give the townships enough money. This thing
Right.
could have been fixed just by allowing them the ability to do that, and we wouldn't be messing with any of this.
Yep.
But they don't because they don't ask us.
Right.
choose my words right.
Well, and with 15 townships. You know, everybody, I mean, some townships maybe are covered by one fire department or an ambulance, maybe two or three, whatever. This way it puts that authority in the township's ballpark instead of us saying, this is what you're gonna do. Because
So
it's
let me
different
follow
for
that
each
through, because I
township.
haven't worked in that side. Is then do the townships write checks, or does it come back to the county to write the check for the township?
If it was me, it'd be the county writing the check to the township, and the township would then be responsible
So
for
it is, isn't it?
everything, how they choose
Well-
they wanna do it.
And they keep track of it in their books, is that the way?
That's how they do it, yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
when they levy taxes now, it just all goes to the township and then they pay for whatever cemeteries and whatever they.
okay,
They have their own check.
Right, Michelle.
that's,
You don't send money to any of the cemeteries or any of that
No.
stuff.
I
It goes to
sent
the
it
township.
Taxing authority.
Yes, right.
And
And
that's,
like I said,
okay,
I send it to them and it's broken down as to what amount of tax I've collected that goes to each of their budget line items.
so they would have to add a budget line item that says EMS in addition to fire. And then it'd be
Well,
that
isn't it
75
fire
cents
slash
point.
ambulance on
So-
their levy?
so let's break it down, Pleasant
Isn't
Township,
it
let's
one
call it
amount that goes to
$30,000.
Fire and ambulance or
But I
township?
don't think anybody.
But Pleasant Township gets
Well,
$30,000.
no, but
for
it's
75
that, they
cents.
have that in their budget that they can.
That's the referendum, they have to spend that 30,000. Now, let's say, Pleasant Township says, hey, we're only gonna spend 20,000, we're gonna put 10,000 away into a fund for a capital project of an ambulance down the road, and we keep doing that for 5 years so that we have money to buy an ambulance for this. They have that ability. We don't, but they do. They do it for fire trucks already. We're trying to reinvent a wheel that's been invented years ago. They just never had enough funding. I just soon dump it right to them that they've already reinvented the wheel. Let Iowa Falls negotiate with Pleasant Township. You can negotiate the 70, 20, 10 or whatever numbers. I don't think they're gonna oppose it, but maybe you want the ambulance also. You want capital projects built, a plan built for an ambulance. Well, you can utilize that money and do it with them. They're a taxing authority as well, but hey, we're just saying that money's being dumped into them. They cut the checks.
Right.
Maybe they just say, hey, we are contracting with Eldora. Here's 100%. Here's the 30,000. We're done.
Here's an idea, because, let's assume this is on the ballot in November, something is on the ballot in November and it's passed. Townships, there's gonna be a lot of scrambling going on for the first round of money. Perhaps the ballot language could be drafted so that there is a number of years where the sort of the status quo that is maintained, and maybe the 70, you're using your number 70, 20, 10 are the way it's gonna be for X years, and after that, then the townships have autonomy over their funds, so that they can, that way the agencies are assured of something that they can budget for a period of years, and then after which it's either working with that, for that township, or it's not, and then at some point they know there's, you know, the chains will be lit, or, you know, removed, free to negotiate something more favorable with the current agency that's, they're in the service area, or
right,
whatever else is available to them. So I mean, there's maybe a way to kind of, you know, achieve both, you know, a known and then with the option later for the unknown, so that people aren't thrust into the chaos of
well,
negotiating with all these 10 agencies and, you know, putting that burden on them right away.
I'm just thinking out loud, so.
And a lot of that going on.
It will, so if it did that. The other part of that would be, is that, yes, we're gonna collect this, excuse me, for 15 years. But then we're back to the townships and whether or not a service is there or isn't there, or we change services. So for instance, we get enough responders in Ag, like that we could do an ambulance. And we could pay them paramedic,
If you then,
Then-
Clay could then turn around and,
say, we're gonna keep all the money in Clay Township. But the other is if we go away, then that township has the ability, instead of having digits set in there, they just have that, and then they just move it over to whoever.
they negotiate with
Right.
whoever the
And that
agency they
would-
want to.
That would leave the unknowns out of the 15-year picture.
Right.
Cause none of us in this room, me especially, is gonna be here in 15 years. I'll be dead and gone by then.
I'm probably right there with you.
Huh?
I'm old.
15 years, you guys don't even make mine yet.
Right.
So we're still gonna be here. Tom.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and that's what I'm trying to say is, and then I think it stands a very good chance of passing because you're giving the taxing authorities the ability to negotiate for themselves. And when it comes to a referendum, they're not being dictated, they're being dictated by their own trustees at that point. And if they want to be a trustee, they could be a trustee.
Well, let us have time to take this back to the group and.
I would,
Discussion, I mean, that. I can tell you right now, that's making sense. We have to
you're right,
figure that out in the language again too,
yeah,
and try and rewrite that.
and
But that
don't-
makes,
I think it stands a better chance of passing a referendum.
You too.
I'm not throwing out Daryl's idea, if you could bring that up to it as well.
I'm not throwing out Daryl's idea.
Yeah.
Please don't feel that way. But I
I
also don't want anybody to think, oh, well, here's the place where we can get all of our needs met and we're just gonna, and then. Where's the stop on that? You know what I'm saying? Is it, to me, as a taxpayer, then it's like, well, where do you stop? Daryl decides in his office that he's gonna have another assistant attorney. Because I can make up the money by just increasing the tax. So, do you see what,
Yeah,
am I
cost
making
shifting,
that?
you're cost shifting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want it to be something that they can say, oh, well, now you can shift.
Yeah.
What we're really looking to do is try and shift the burden off of the city.
Yes,
For providing all of the EMS in the rural area to the rural area and all of the people in the city,
and
so that it is level and the city then can decrease on their budget potentially what this is bringing in from the.
I got a few things to add on that.
What's that?
I got a few things to add on that. The city will have to continue to levy for their services. On top of this levy. This levy is not just gonna pay for ambulance.
No,
And that needs to be said too, because if you look at it the other way, by putting this tax burden out there, 60,
well, it's 70-30, isn't it, or 60-40.
67% is a rule. That, we're trying to dump the bill 67 cents on the rural. That's not what you're doing. What you're doing is the cities are still gonna have a bill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But this levy will be 67%.
67 cents per thousand.
Yeah,
67.
they'll be paying 67% of that bill as well, but they haven't been paying anything.
right.
And what we're trying to do is equalize this out. So the little portion that the cities are gonna get, they're still gonna have to levy to keep operating
Yes.
inside city.
Yeah, this is not
But
gonna,
inside city
this is
limits
not
is
gonna-
not gonna get a 75 cent.
yes.
Yeah, they will too,
That's what I thought.
but that's not
But-
much. I was trying to find the numbers. It's like Owl Falls 17 cents on the dollar, 17%, if I remember right.
But this would put 75 cents on everybody's.
Yes,
Mhm.
but of the $1 million, 175,000 would go just to Owl Falls. They need more than 175 to operate. It's just gonna release some
Pay
of
city tax, and then you're gonna be paying the
Right,
county on top of
the
it.
referendum.
So the city folks are getting
right,
double.
right.
Mm,
they're just, it just gives them the ability
Price
that
of
the
getting really
townships
will
would
cost
then
you.
pay also. And I don't think there's very many people opposed to that. Because we all want medical service. Now, they might choose what types of medical service they want to invest their money into, but that, like, leave that to the townships. If you leave it to the referendum, I think you're gonna get resistance with the 70-20-10.
Well, that, I mean. Let's take that back and have that discussion. That's a. I mean, that makes,
From your side, how would you like it?
I see both sides. I think it's just gonna be a lot more putting things together with the townships and piecing that all together so it makes sense. To other people and to be able to advertise that. To me, the property taxes seems just easier, cleaner, but just getting that all down on paper.
Okay,
Um,
Michelle, from your standpoint, if it just went to the townships, you would cut the check monthly to the townships, I believe, as it comes in. I don't know if it's monthly or annually, however,
Okay.
Well,
they would get their portion of those that paid. It's not a guarantee they get 100% either.
that's true.
right, that's the other thing.
Yeah, nobody, we never get
Right.
100% of our
Right,
tax.
that's why it's not just twice a year, it's every single month
Mhm.
on the portions that I collect. And if it was to go to just the township and then the township has to pay the other entities, I don't
She wouldn't be
know.
involved.
Right.
But if it
And
got,
they're not gonna have all this bookkeeping ability either. I would.
Well, they gotta
assume.
have some bookkeeping. I mean, and it's only gonna be,
Townships don't get a whole lot of money.
Mhm.
yeah, but it's not like. I also think we need to be careful that we don't say to the township, oh, you need to pay every month to this. No, let's,
It could be quarterly, it could
so
be,
that it
Yeah,
doesn't,
they could do their.
so that it doesn't
disbursement
become,
Twice a year,
doesn't become a
but,
booking nightmare.
right. Yeah, I think it'd be great if we could just have two services and they service all the small communities, but.
Well, it's
Well-
kind of that way in a sense, like, so we've got our two ALS agencies.
Yeah,
That respond to these first responder areas. So like Ackley, they have their first responders who can do certain things, like they can
Right.
start CPR, get everything ready for their ALS providers, like, cause if somebody needs CPR, it's gonna take Iowa Falls
No, it takes 12 minutes.
12 minutes to get there. And so in the meantime, at least you have somebody providing that service while you're waiting for that, because if you're waiting 12 minutes for CPR, I mean,
You're
you're already brain dead
Mhm.
at that point.
Yeah.
So we still need those other small services.
yeah, and you and I had that discussion and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, eye awakening because of a layperson not understanding that part of it. But it's just, yeah, it's just crazy that it's so complicated.
Well,
so
Lance
it's
is right.
the state screwed it up.
It should have been done when the state did this whole thing back when, oh, it was almost 20 years ago when we started system standards and started asking the state to process this. They should have just said, okay, so let's give the townships this much access to more money.
Mhm.
And it has to be earmarked EMS. That would have been clean and simple. They already do it and up to, I don't know what their tax is for fire. Is it 67 and a half
67 and
cents?
a half cents per thousand.
Okay, and then ambulance be the other 75. That would have been the cleanest back then.
Yeah.
But we know that the State House is a huge sausage machine and everybody,
Cause they don't understand how it works.
well, they don't listen.
Well, this is true too.
I will tell you that some of them just don't listen.
Yeah, that would have been simple.
But they, and that was kind of what we were working on back then. When we put the system standards together, we spent 3 years putting that together and took it to them. And then they went with, Well, we'll let everybody decide if they want essential service.
And that was the whole thing. It wasn't a you shall collect 75 cents.
Right.
It was you may collect up to 75, and then anybody could negotiate whatever they wanted.
Right.
And if you want the service, you levy in your township for it.
Yes,
They're not mandated to spend the full, what, 67.5?
no,
They're not mandated to
they don't
do
have to.
that. But most do because
but
Well,
here,
because it's split between fire and ambulance.
but here,
mostly fire, yeah.
it's. If you don't do if you don't do the whole now, then however long the term is, you haven't got a choice.
Right,
Unless
because it's a shall.
the referendum could read, you can use up to 75 cents.
And we're not allowed, I already checked on that one.
Yeah, so that again is one of those where they
Mhm.
just kind of put it in there and didn't understand the ramifications of it.
So 70 is the ALS?
Yes.
And 20 is BLS?
Yes.
And 10 is,
The first responders.
alright,
What's the second? The 20%?
BLS service,
So,
Like your
Let me-
EMT services?
yeah, so first of all, first responders, that's what we have in Ackley. Or they have it at New Providence, they have it at Steamboat.
Okay.
And Buckeye and Alden. Ackley has an ambulance to do the work because Ackley already had an ambulance when we started, so that's there. Some of these departments, like New Providence, Steamboat and Alden purchased a used ambulance so that at least they could have another vehicle to carry supplies in. But New Providence is using their equipment truck. So it's not like we have to have a whole separate vehicle for it, but most need that extra because their fire trucks are already full. Whether we have a $350,000 ambulance, I don't need a $350,000 ambulance to do first response. I need to be able to get a certain amount of equipment to a scene. But I can't transport it. So I have to have, and the BLS then can work up to everything below having IVs and drugs and innovations. That works for, the BLS works for probably 90% of our stuff. But ALS is the one that's gonna come with drugs and innovation and things like that, that
Cardiac monitor.
have the potential to save the life after we've gotten. So for instance, Michelle, do you know of the case at the Ackley School, the parade, Mr. Kobe, I think that's his name.
No, yeah, Rick,
CPR was started.
right.
We got a pulse back with CPR and defib. But that's as far as we can go. Then we needed the ALS so that they could intubate him, give him drugs to stabilize his heart. To be able to continue that process. If we had just continued with CPR or any of that, then the potential for him was much lower. So the tiered system works because now we don't need an ALS, we don't need a paramedic in every town.
Yeah.
We need first responders that can go assess a patient, be there and do the life-saving CPR, cardiac monitor, and then get the vitals and get the patient prepped to go. When ALS shows up, then they're able to take the report, load the patient and start the transport. And I don't have to worry about being tied up and I'm not paid. So most of the calls I go on are 20 to 30 minutes. 20 minutes most of the time. So that leaves it so that people don't have to commit time of 2 hours to load, transport to a hospital, and then come back. it also reduces the insurance and the expenses for the city. Because we're not paying for paramedics to be on the road for 2 hours. We're not paying for an ambulance to be on the road. The ambulance, we probably put on maybe 1,000 miles in a year. And so we don't have the upkeep that it would take that these guys do. So that's how the system works best, is having two, because if we only have one and it's gotta come out of Eldora, that's a long drive out of Falls or any other part of the county. And then the same way, you do it out of Falls, it's
I get it.
a long drive. So the tiered EMS system is what we built system standards on 20 years ago.
I think what I'm gonna attempt to do is write what I understand the recommendation to be, and then another kind of section of concerns that, you know, questions, concerns that have been brought up here, and then make an attempt at synthesizing some of those things. And I can give a copy of the supervisors and the advisory council, and then they can kind of chew on that and redline it as much as they want.
If we can come up
Do you
with how
agree
that
with me the best way to get a referendum passed?
looks at exactly what we just talked about, changing it
Do
from,
you want the townships?
yeah.
Being able to negotiate there?
I'm not gonna guarantee that I even
Or do you want the?
have the recommendation 100% accurate. So that's what the purpose is, to just, do I understand
That's why I don't.
the recommendation?
You can call any
I
of
do
us
too.
Yeah,
anytime.
That's,
Be happy to.
that's how I
discuss it
think you're
and
gonna
try
get a
and
referendum.
I think so
passed.
too.
And we would
Keep
love it
moving the
to, like,
machine.
if you
And I
guys
think it would make
could
Michelle's
make it,
life
even on
easier
Zoom,
too.
cause there's that
Yes,
Zoom link
but you
too,
should
you just
disperse
can't make it in
them.
person, and then what will happen, you just talk to, cause
Like
I guess my biggest frustration is too, is come, we talk here, bring it here, then like, oh, that's
well,
not.
and
good,
then
like
at
that.
some point, there's a handoff from
And you will.
Oh, yeah,
provide some-
because otherwise.
the council to the supervisors, and then they kind of take it up, and
I
then
think some of
the public, which includes the
I
members
don't
of
need
the
a receipt,
council,
I just want.
are invited, which is kind of what this is. I mean, I always kind of
give you
took
this
2 weeks
money.
ago, the handoff already kind of occurred, but they wanted some
Yeah.
clarification. and more things.
And I think one of our biggest moves was like, been in contact with Corey and Vicky about
Areas.
setting up meetings, you kind of discuss
For
some of
this
those
part of the township.
obstacles, and what our options are as far as like, doesn't work with like those tax and dispersing everything, so. I think that's probably our
This whole thing.
big.
Oh, that's all right, yes.
Yeah.
Not
So
practically.
I think a meeting with some of us, with you.
I think you'll get a referendum passed the other way.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to
I wouldn't
Pocahontas
go
County
there.
and see, you know, cause that was one thing that I was waiting for is to what counties are already
Yeah.
Do you have
doing this, so that I can
I
talk
don't
with
have it.
President.
I know Webster has it, I
Yeah,
know,
About how the process.
Pocahontas.
Webster, Pocahontas,
Print off some screens or something for you to look at, how it is.
And yeah, I'm looking at all the counties, they all kind of do it a little bit
Here, I
different.
believe
So.
Cedar
finding
has
the
a
one
self-ran,
What we're trying to
they
do.
run the ambulance themselves, so does Jameson.
Cause
So it's
And
county.
I do
ambulance
have a
service.
list of
But are
things
they-
of counties written down, I'll have to get those to
I
you.
don't know
I
on
had it all
that,
written
but I
down
would
in
bet they
Google.
did.
I asked like,
But
Yeah.
like I said, that's a county ran service, so it's easy.
we can get you a list of the counties that have just recently put it in.
yeah, that are similar to what.
yeah, that wanna do your 3,
Because there's some that just have
Well,
like.
that
one
actually have
line.
received
Yeah.
and distributed, not just
Right.
passed
right,
a referendum.
that
Right.
are already in the.
Miss Michelle, if I'm thinking of this right, if we ended up with, say there's a township that has 3 different fire departments covering it, or even say 2 different fire departments covering it. Currently, you're just sending the certain dollar amount to the township and then they disperse it out to cemeteries and all that, correct? Where if we had, and I'm gonna call it fire districts, cause in a way, that's what it would be. If Clay Township is split into 3 different fire departments covering areas, wouldn't that make additional taxing districts for us? That,
I
or
don't
maybe
think it would change-
not,
I don't think it'd change the district.
it wouldn't. it would just be up to them to know that, well, how are they gonna know how much money came out of each fire department area?
Well, to me, it's gonna be a separate levy that we're gonna collect for this EMS, and it's gonna be it's not gonna be included in their fire levy.
Right, but how are they gonna know how much of that goes to, because there's different value, I mean, the value for whatever part of the township covers the city of Steamboat Rock, they're gonna get more. Where the other, I'm almost thinking that would have to be like taxing districts, so you know how much tax dollars comes in from each of those areas to know what to disperse to the fire department that covers it.
And
No.
that's why I'm asking, when we were talking, that the cities are also gonna get this 75 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And then where does that money go? Doesn't all stay with the city?
No, it
That-
would go to the
Right.
fire department that covers it, wouldn't it?
Well,
It's either gonna be 15 or 27. Receive 10, 15, or 27 recipients. 10 is the proposal. Goes right to the current 10 agencies. There's 15 townships. It could go to 15 townships, or if you're gonna distribute it to townships and cities, then you're gonna have about 27.
Which is how it is right now with all the other funding that cities get their money from.
I know,
you,
but
townships
I'm
get it.
still trying to wrap my head around how I'm gonna collect and disperse 3 different percentages out to 3 different entities.
I'm trying to avoid that.
If we do it by township, then you're just cutting a check to
Mm,
the township,
township.
Then you're done.
We will have to
Okay.
work with our townships.
All right, that would,
And then the city isn't
Definitely
gonna get any
easier.
of that?
You disperse to the cities as well,
Yeah, they get
as
70.
townships too.
The township would give the city 70.
No.
No,
the
So
city's already
she'll
like,
collect for the townships and she'll collect for the cities as well. Disperse for the city, disperse for the townships. Of the whole.
Yep.
Of the full
but just
75
because I'm
cents.
in Ackley, I'm gonna pay 75 cents on the on the 1,000 for EMS. That is across the board. Any property that you own is gonna be 75 cents.
Right.
My 75 cents though, because I live in the city of Ackley, has to go back to the city of Ackley, is that correct?
That's how I anticipate it.
So then we'll have to work with our townships and our cities to make sure that they understand that is not supplement to their budget, it is EMS specific.
Right.
So
And
back in.
Then are you
23,
thinking that they're going to disperse to
okay,
ALS and BLS?
Yes,
Cause
Oh.
they're gonna keep it.
because they know
Out
what
of
they're doing.
the
Yeah.
money that I give them for EMS for the city, they know that they have to pay the
Yeah.
ALS side and the BLS
Yeah,
side.
because we already have
And they keep the
agreements.
10%.
all right, so it'd be the same.
Because
for
we already
townships.
have those, I have to have an agreement. With Iowa Falls, as a first responder, I have to have an agreement with transport service.
And to me, it doesn't matter to me what your agreements are,
Right.
it's how we disperse the money. We, the board, are
Right.
completely out.
So it wouldn't change for you at all then, you're still
Right.
just dispersing to the city and then to the township and then they disperse.
If that's how they write it up.
That's how
But
it should be.
originally, that
Right.
it was not coming out that way. It was going to be us.
Dispersing.
Yeah, that's why we're
Okay.
talking, we don't want the original.
No,
No, we're trying to set it up,
That
that the
would
money
be
goes to the
clean.
townships or their
Yep.
deal.
Yep.
And the money goes to the city as well, and it's their deal.
Yep.
So the breakdown, this is back in 23, but, Ackley was about 3.5 cents per thousand. Or 3.5 cents per dollar. Of a dollar. So this $1 million, that would be.
Oh,
Alden was 2.1 cents of a dollar. Buckeye was 0.35 cents of a
is that for
dollar,
fire?
but that was just the dollar breakdown of this valuation.
Has
Eldora,
nothing to do with fire.
no,
right,
Okay,
Eldora was 6.3 cents of a dollar. Hubbard was 2.1 cents of a dollar. Iowa Falls was 16.8 cents of a dollar. New Providence was 0.35 cents of a dollar. Owasso couldn't even make a penny. Radcliffe was 1.75 cents of a dollar, Steamboat was 0.7 cents of a dollar, Union was 1.05 cents of a dollar, Witten was 0.35 cents of a dollar. And the unincorporated areas were 65 cents of a dollar. That was back in 23. It's close to the same, not exact.
Mhm.
But that's why I say in order for a referendum to go through, that 65% of the dollar needs to feel ownership to that money as well.
Yes,
And I think they will,
if we say that it's going to the township.
and then the township disperses it.
Mhm.
I can't guarantee how a vote's gonna go through, but I think it's a better way. But if you take $1 million and you say, hey, this is how we're dispersing $1 million, 70, 20, 10. I don't think anybody even understands it.
Right,
I mean, that's a hard selling point.
right.
Where you go the other route, it could still be 70, 20, 10, but that's up to each township, and
Right.
each city, how they want to disperse the money to where it wants to go, and then negotiate with the.
But I can see where that would be an issue as well, because what if that township just says, oh, I'm gonna give all my money to the first responders and not to the,
Then that township would understand that they may not have ALS
That's
service.
exactly right.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking
Yes.
outside the box,
But
but,
you may have a township with that opinion also.
right,
But then the ALS can go.
You didn't contract with us,
Yeah, yeah. I can see that.
or it could be a 50-50 contract. We want your services, but we gotta ensure that we keep our first responders here as well this year. Next year it could change.
Right.
cause the cities already have a contract with you, correct?
They own
Or
them.
with-
Yeah,
with-
most of them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
we're already owned by them, so.
our city pays money to Iowa Falls for,
No,
no,
It's more of like a contingency plan, basically, so, it's not really a
that's,
contract.
and that's part of the reason why this needs to happen, because right now. Ackley's getting service, but we're not paying for it.
okay, alright. See, and I think as a lay public person that doesn't pay attention to that stuff. Unfortunately, I'm in that boat. This is very eye-opening and, I'm thinking a lot of people out there have the same knowledge of
Right.
this whole
They
thing
have no idea.
as I do.
Mhm.
And the other is they don't understand. The other side that the light doesn't understand is that. If I take an ambulance ride. The ambulance service. Can only charge me. Whatever my deductible is. They have to take whatever Medicare says they're gonna get paid. They. And they don't get to negotiate. So Medicare is saying, we're only paying, what is the rate now, maybe 40% of a bill?
It's not much.
But what
Like, it's
happens
less.
is that 40%. So that's 60% of the bill, while it's about 50% of the bill can't be collected. Because they can't charge me. Because Medicare says, this is what we pay you, you're dealing with us. You'll write the rest off. Which is making it really hard for services to keep up,
Right,
because you can't run, I mean,
so who pays, where's the deficit at and who takes that? I mean,
the cities
Yeah, the
take,
city.
cities,
Yeah. The
cities are
city,
taking the deficit.
yeah, EMS with the city is just running at that deficit, so.
Hmm.
And that's where we're struggling, so, cause we can't sustain that.
right, I get it.
I'm surprised you have this long.
Yes,
Yeah.
me too.
Well, part of the reason it has gotten worse is because all of a sudden. Medicare's been doing this for years. They were doing it when I was in EMS.
They build it up, they go away.
Well, but Medicare was saying, this is what we're paying, and they continued to cut that. But now. Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, every other payer is saying, oh. Well, if Medicare's only paying you that much, that's all we're gonna pay you.
Huh,
And if Medicare says that's what the rate is, then we're only paying that much. We're not gonna pay extra. So even my well marked,
So how come it doesn't
Supplement.
go back to the person like it would for your medical
Medicare says
bill?
you can't, and your medical bills don't either.
How do services like in Des
Hospitals
Moines?
can't either.
I mean, bigger services.
I'm sorry,
How do the huge services like Des Moines and those
Because they
places
have a
keep going? They have a bigger, broader.
they have a
base.
huge
We all
tax
fit it
base.
with everybody else.
suppose.
And
I mean, they're just a-
transport times are much shorter, they have 5-minute
Oh.
transports compared to we have 20-minute transports. And you're not getting paid, you know, if we travel 20 to 30 minutes to get to a patient, you're not getting paid for the time you're responding, you only get paid from the time you have the patient in that truck to the time you get to the hospital.
Yeah.
Not
so
even
they're
on
only-
the way back.
They're only
Wow.
paying. They're only paying, loaded miles. Back in the day, they paid all the miles. Well, now they only pay loaded miles. So back in the day, I charged $2.50, $3 a mile. Now, that's $8, $9 a mile
Mhm.
because you can't,
You gotta make up for the trips.
Well, I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
oh, yeah.
That's.
Well, yeah, and you're gonna end up losing services in some counties because
They already
they
have.
can't.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
sure.
lot that
Mhm. I'm sure.
are getting covered from half an hour away now.
I think. We've gotten through it all.
Ooh.
You've got lots of notes. Brooke has lots of notes.
Newspaper has lots of notes.
Build a book. Harold has to tax the citizens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to that, then you can tax them all away.
But when you go up the income tax, those numbers I rattled off would change a lot of people's opinions too, because that percentage didn't change.
Which I thought was gonna be a.
That's all right.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You guys have gotta get something
Great.
well together that's.
Yeah.
You know, that can pass. Yeah. You know.
It's scary.
Mhm.
Appreciate it. And it's scary, you know, and.
I'm the
They keep
interim
showing up.
director for Eldora, yeah.
She is nothing but a menace and they gave her needles. She's our local drug dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you all for what you do.
How are you guys?
We're doing wonderful.
Yeah.
Living a fun life at the courthouse.
Where's that at?
Yeah, right.